I chose the Velveteen Rabbit because I think it's a piece in itself about love and loss, and loss causing transformation. I have a particular interest in taking text out of its original meaning and creating it into something new beyond adaptation, but full transformation while using the original text. Because I think that mirrors often what we ourselves do to text, or any sort of media in our daily lives.
1 minute they were long and thin, and the next fat and bunchy, instead of always staying the same like he did. Their feet patted softly on the ground, and they crept quite close to him, twitching their noses, while the rabbits stared hard to see which side the clockwork stuck out. For he knew that people who jump generally have something to wind them up.
I am the choreographer, which means that essentially I'm putting together physicality and movement for the cast and kind of helping them drop into all of the characters and all the different characters they portray, all of where their physicality lies throughout the dramatic arc of each character throughout the show.
I need to feel the most grotesque possible. Yes.
My favorite experience, we just worked on it yesterday, was there is a scene where they come out as sort of like evil bunnies, or like real bunnies rather, and I really enjoyed getting to work with them on giving them a specific pose and a specific like body movement that they're supposed to do.
Rexy arms.
So the process, despite the dark material in the show, has actually been very positive. We've tried very hard to keep the room very positive and uplifting and very encouraging, but a lot of what we've been doing is looking at the subtext within the show. More than most plays, this show lives within the subtext because most of the story of the mom and dad aren't actually told through their own words. It's told through the story of the Velveteen Rabbit. So a lot of what we've been doing in this process is exploring how exactly that's mirrored and how these words that aren't actually their own are actually telling their story
Put him
throughout
down
the
on the
play.
grass.
Run and play, little rabbit.
But the little rabbit sat quite still for a moment, and he never moved. For when he saw all the wild rabbits dancing around him, he suddenly remembered about his hind legs.
For me, I love this story of emotion and how it can be shown through many different ways. I love the fact that my character almost goes into her own little world when she's reading the story to her bunny. I think a lot of people are going to connect to it and think that it's a really interesting way to portray stuff like that.
And so the little rabbit was put into a sack with the old picture books and a lot of rubbish, and carried to the end of the garden behind the fountain.
Like an exploration of grief, mainly, and kind of how that affects people. Specifically, like the dynamic of like trying to help someone in grief while in grief, but also being in grief. A lot of grief.
Oh, you've been talking with your parents a lot.
Yeah, it's been hard on me too.
You can talk to me, but I don't want you.
Yeah, I think it's about the grief after grief that is really meaningful to me.
In the flower bed, the quiet evenings in the wood,
where he lay in the bracken.
To me, it's about navigating grief, and how differently human beings navigate grief, and how it can affect the people around us, and how it can affect how we try to continue to move through life after a loved one dies.
I think she's on the other side of it. She's been happier, I think.
I think there are so many different ways to process your emotions, and there's different ways that work for other people. And I think no matter what, it's okay. And also there are things to hope in life. Like there are things that can bring you a lot of hope and can bring you a lot of joy. And there are so many reasons to stay and to fight. And yeah, there's just a lot of joy everywhere that you can look, no matter where you look in the world.
I hope that someone, at least one person, comes to see this show and sees themselves or sees a version of themselves or their story and can feel a little bit better, and it can help someone move on from their own grief. Because I think that sometimes seeing other people's grief, even if it's made up for a show, can help someone feel like they are not alone.
Maybe a movie or something?
I don't know. Maybe.
It doesn't have to be soon, but I think it would be good.
I hope that it shows people that, you're not alone in it, that there's usually people around you that understand it more than you might realize, I guess. And that in experiencing it together, there is a way through it.
Although the show and its themes are fairly dark, they're fairly deep, we have put play first and foremost. We decide to go out and spend time doing the things that bring out the childishness, the inner child in someone, to make the parts of the piece that may live more in delusion or in a separate reality more meaningful and make sense.
It was light now, for the moon had risen. All of the forest was
I hope that it kind of gives a broader understanding to a really relatively young audience who for the most part won't have a lot of experience with having kids, and like the experience of loving something so much and then feeling so heartbroken when that thing has to go away.
I want to make it easier.
The book is about love and about love making things real. So I hope that this conveys a message of unconditional love, both from a parent to a child and within a relationship.
He even began to lose his shape, and he scarcely looked like a rabbit anymore, except to the boy. To him, he was always beautiful. And that was all that the little rabbit cared about. He didn't mind how he
I
looked
do
to
hope
other
to
people.
put out a
He was
message about the residual grief after grief, but in the end, we're donating a large portion to Planned Parenthood of things that have come, any residual money that has come from fundraising and from concessions and from just tickets that may become donations. So yeah, I hope to not only change lives through the message or to assist a change in a life through the message, but also to change and help people that we don't have direct access to.